Good morning. It's 9 a.m. I'm looking at this model again that I made last night, and I don't really hate it. Looks pretty good. And you might think, well, that looks pretty blocky, and the ears look a little funny, but can definitely work with this. For the blockiness, we can use something called subdivision surface, which will subdivide all of the choices I've made for vertices, and you can see here that it looks pretty good actually. The form looks pretty on model as far as the 2D cartoon for Retsuko. Um, uh, so we can definitely work with this. I think something I'm going to want to do is take this leading edge of this ear and pull it in a bit. So, let's get started here. What I can do is take these three vertices here and just try and pull them in a little bit. And that should give it a little more of an ear profile. Pull those in a little bit and back. Make these lines, this line here, make a little bit of sense. So it's a nice curve that comes down like that. Let's see how that looks. That's starting to look a little bit like an ear. I can do the flares that come out either as a transparent plane, or we can make them part of the model. I think for something like this, we probably want to make them part of the model. So let's look at the front here. You see there's a little fluff coming out the side. That might be actually fluff coming from inside the ear poking out. But I think in this case what we might do is we might extrude this face here outward and then split it to make the two. So let's see if we can do that. It's going to extrude this face. And then let's take a look at it. I really only want that front. Okay. So we've added another row. That's fine, because that'll make it so that these are subdivided. They look better. Like, yeah. Looks like she's got some funny earrings going on, or like a spacer. So let's go back to the front view by pressing 1 on the numpad, and then just kind of bring this inward. In fact, we could probably Alt-M, merge it last, and this guy too. You can't see it, so we can turn the subdivision surface off. Alt-M, merge it last, and then you have these two guys. And we can use those. There's even a third one. There's a little bit more out here, but so the bottom one looks like it's a little bit smaller than the top one. Yeah, like that. And also a little bit smaller. So if we grab that like that, slide that one down too. I'm just doing these by hand. I could have slid the whole row down. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. That's the sensible thing. Alt, right click, grab the whole ring, and then slide edge downward. Let's take a look from the front. Looks roughly okay. What does it look subdivided? Oh yeah, I like that. That's nice. It does look like a little fluff coming out from her ears. Alright, so that's a little fiddling with the head done, but I think we're done with the head model for now. Most of the other features of the head will probably either be painted on the surface, or I'll have to make a hole kind of like this to deal with them. Thinking ahead, you know how when Retsuko goes into metal mode, she screams and her she gets more of like a cat mouth. That might require a different mouth, but I'm gonna see if I can maybe work with what I have to make that happen. We'll see when we go to animate it, if we get that far. See, Google made yet another video of all of the stuff that I've uploaded. I don't know if you have Google Photos installed and working, but if you do, let's go to 3 for the side view. If you have Google Photos, they will actually, and we'll select this one, yes, this one. They will actually make auto-generated videos out of the photos that you upload, the photos and videos that you upload. So, the most sensible, yeah. That's the most sensible place for faces. That's the most sensible place for a neck, I think, to come out. And what we can do is we can make it a little more neck shaped by making it rounder. And then make these guys. Yeah. So it's a bit of a rounder hole now. So I'm holding Alt and then right clicking to select a whole row like that. Boop. Just a tiny little bit down like that because her neck is not very long. And it appears like the neck is basically part of the body, which I think is because they've modeled it after an actual red panda that they don't seem to have much of a neck. We're gonna make her humanoid looking because, yeah, that's what Ritsuko is, a little bit down like that. The body is really tiny, so I'm just pressing E to extrude that ring downward. So, I don't like that. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Escape. 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 Let's shrink that down more. Like, her neck should probably be, you know, not much bigger than this opening, right? That would make sense. So, let's shrink that way down. We can't see it anymore. Yeah. So, her neck's gonna be about that long. Extrude again. It's gonna be suddenly at about that far. Okay, like that. There's a tiny little body. And it goes down like that. I should probably have picked more polygons. Oh, wow. Oh god. Haha, I didn't notice that when I made it so small. Excuse me. I didn't notice that when I made it so small, I made the neck basically nothing. SY. Make it a little bit wider. So it's about even. Let's go to the front view again. Extrude downwards. Yep. And then extrude outward. Oops. E to extrude again. That first one's going to be where the arms come out of. What I was getting at here was the way I know of, which is from watching Darren Lyle's videos, of making this part is usually to pull this across to the back. But I've made a water bottle essentially. It looks funny, but we can work with this. So let's go to the side view. yeah, and then we can press S, Y, start to S, Y, the body look more like a body. I guess we could probably pull this whole apparatus forward. Just select everything. B to box select, and just grab that whole bit here. And let's look at the side. I'm just going to press G for this. So it's like her head's teetering on top of this. And make the lines make sense. Ah. You'll find yourself pulling pixels or pulling vertices like this a lot when you're working out how a model is going to look. Because as you go, you shouldn't mess up your previous work. It should look great, but sometimes your decisions that don't always make a perfect sense once you get going into further details. Okay, that looks kind of like her little bean body. Oh, maybe a little more because oh, did I? Oh, I was just using S, that's why. Okay. See, I made a mistake there. I needed to press Y, SY, to make the actual scaling happen on the Y-axis only. So now, see, it's the same width. Yeah. Okay. SY to SY. If you're really close to the center of whatever you've clicked when you press S, the scaling will happen based on that point, and it's kind of, it'll look a bit funny. And that should scale up in the X-axis probably quite a bit. Actually, no, because then the legs are going to be on either side. So, F. I think these should stay connected. That might be useful to have that edge flow. And see, I kind of made a mistake here when I only used that many. So let's divide this a little more. How far did that go? Okay, that makes sense. And now I could take, these guys, press C to circle select, and just kind of draw the ones I want to pick. Let's round this out some more. Press C. Oh, wait. A to clear, C. Grab those. Deselect that one. Bring that in. Let's make this a little more spherical and less like a water bottle. Okay. I keep accidentally resetting the 3D cursor. Stop. So I'm going to drag these lines sort of forward to follow the line of the bean body. Circle select these guys and pull them in a little bit. And just pull vertices until this looks roughly isolation. Looks a little funny. I might have to work on it because it still looks a bit like a bottle. Actually, yeah. Let's, while we're at it, grab these and pull them out. Ah, no. Ah, I don't know why it does that. Maybe I accidentally scroll while I'm clicking, but sometimes when I middle click with my scroll wheel middle click, it'll do a grab at the same time, and I don't know why. One of the mysteries of Blender, because there's so many ways to do things, sometimes you do them by accident. So now we've got a little bean underneath the head, and we can start making legs out of that. So I guess what I need to do is I need a leg-sized hole on either side here. So let's X to delete faces. So we've got a hole here. And then we just actually, yeah. Let's look at the front. Those legs are too thick. Yeah, that's why I'm moving and hawing. So I'm going to need another division here, I think. Make another division there by using R. Let's see how much I affected here. Like that. Maybe instead of R, I'm just going to use K to make a new division. Press Enter, K again. It's just an unfortunate fact of how I laid this out. So that's one of the things that I learn in this process by doing it a lot, is sort of like, oh, well, maybe next time I should lay this out in such a way that the legs will make sense. So what I can do is I can grab, I suppose I could have moved this forward. Oh, that's okay. X faces. Now, if I grab it, extrude. Does it look funny? Kinda looks funny. Feels like I need another division here. So there should be there, and then extruding again to the knees. Some very tight ones around the knees. And then again to the foot, which is about here. And as I come down there, I want all of these actually. Let's see, that's not going to work. Let's say, as I extrude down to the knee, I use S and Z to flatten that out more. So So we have this ring here that's closer to the body, and this one that should be like above the knee. Shrinks a little, let it extrude like very shortly, make it a little bigger, extrude again, a little smaller, extrude down to the heel. And I'm using my imagination here a little bit because the 2D model is so simple, right? And I'm going to look this way. Okay. So I'm just pulling pulling things around until they make sense, kind of. So I'm going to assume this should be larger because it looks really silly when it's small. And one thing that I've done that kind of ruins the flow of the lines here, and I've figured that out after doing all this work, is that yeah, it does not flow like a body. It looks a little too unnatural, so I'm going to need to undo as much as I can, which is hardly anything. Okay, great. There we go. Sometimes you have more undo levels. Alright, I'm going to have to stop streaming now because laundry's ready. And I can continue the legs later.